Hi, Grace Church Missions. It's Heather Conan. I'm so excited to be meeting with you, and I want to thank you so much for the support that you've offered me as one of your Grace Church missionaries. I'm so blessed that I have the opportunity to be a part of both across the street and around the world. I serve with Christian Educators Association International as their Ambassador Project Director. And I'm excited to share what God's been up to in the public schools since we met back in 2018. It's been a while. So, on the US front, I began my service with them in doing some weekends for Christian educators who are working in the public school system. And those were wonderful. Saw a lot of fruit from that. And had the opportunity to really coach educators who God had stirred in them some kind of a dream or a goal, as far as being really intentional with their students. So whether that was starting a prayer group for staff or an after school Bible club, um, just really giving them advice on how to handle themselves as a Christian in that environment and all of that. But of course, COVID hit and things changed. So in the US, something that came about was really a new season of thinking about an educator in the culture that we live in. And so we really regrouped and we spent about 9 months working on launching a new project called Awake. AWAKE is an acronym. It stands for Ambassadors Working as Kingdom Educators. So we are trying to work with people who work in schools to help them see themselves differently, that they are a kingdom educator, that they are an ambassador. And what does that mean? So during the course of this day that God really led us through developing, it's a time for them to rediscover their purpose, why they became an educator. And for 99%, it's God calling them to this. And then discovering, what does the Bible say about being an ambassador? And then discovering some of the things that are important as far as a foundation. And that is really, who is God and how do we understand him? And who are we? And what are the lies that our enemy is trying to get us to believe about both God and ourselves? And we really do a lot of heart work in that area, knowing that when we take what people know, the knowledge, and we bring it to the heart, that transformation takes place. And then when the Holy Spirit speaks, people go forth. So we spend time talking about navigating culture, and that is tricky these days, but giving them a great framework for responding in culture, looking as challenges as opportunities to represent Christ in a way that is very different from the way the world is responding. We started to pilot this program last February, and we have officially launched it since July, and have been traveling across the country, just seeing wonderful, wonderful fruit from the time that we've spent with these educators, the strategies that we've given them, the mindset, the attitudes that have just created this rich soil for the Holy Spirit to move in our public schools. And I think all of you probably recognize the need for that right now. This next generation, people are just battling for them, or in the spiritual realm, and we're in there. Then internationally, I was able to take a group from the US over to work in the Czech Republic. I have a colleague that is with Josiah Venture there, and he has started a ministry called the Daniel Movement. So I did lead a group of educators there since we've met, and it was an amazing experience. It was Christian educators from the US discipling Christian educators in the Czech Republic. And we brought in a lot of new materials for them, really worked on modeling some very gospel-centered ways of communicating with people. And we even trained them in how to share the gospel with the Minute to Witness format, and took them into the streets of a little village where they shared the gospel. And for many of them, that was just life-changing. They are in a culture where people just don't go up and talk to strangers, and they were doing it. And many of them have continued to email me and say that this is still happening. So really exciting there. But again, couldn't go on a missions trip with COVID. So what's next? So I was able to communicate with my colleague in the Czech Republic, and also a larger group of Christian educators called Eureka. And that is the European Christian Educators Association, which is comprised of about 13 different countries, and they just have an amazing organization. So myself, along with the Daniel Movement and Eureka, we put together opportunities to bring educators from around the world together for something we called Recharge. And Recharge was a series of Zoom meetings where we put together a little program, some slides that were very reproducible, and we brought them through topics like prayer, how to navigate storms in your life, the importance of Christian community, and we put them into these really great interactive presentations. And then within that group that we presented to, we encouraged them to take that presentation, to translate it into their own language and go with it into their communities. And that was really exciting. There were a number of educators that really were all in for that series, and we saw our work being translated across Europe. It was great. I also was able to participate in their summit, virtual summit. Got up at 3 a.m. to teach a session on staying connected with God, and how we can go about creating space for God to work in our lives. So it was such a joy and so fun to watch God move in ways we would never anticipate. And I'm sure you've heard that from other missionaries as well, that God is very active this past year and a half or 2 years. So going forward, this Awake experience, I am in the process of building capacity. Again, this is one of those programs that we want to train up other educators to do. So we want to train leaders and give this program away to them, so that they can take it into their communities, into their schools, into their churches, and really wake up the Christians in the public schools and remind them that they've got a purpose and God needs them. So those are a few updates for you. I would love to come and meet in person with the team sometime, and maybe give some more specific examples. But thank you so much for your prayers, for your support. We're in a battle here, and God is working. So be encouraged and have a great day. Bye-bye.